mascots for this afternoon's match. Swindon's mascot, young Richard Bruce, comes from Chippenham, and Richard hails from the Christian Mulford School, 7 years old. His favourite team's Liverpool, however, second favourite team is Swindon Town, likes John Barnes and Gary Lineker. And Portsmouth, well, they brought their young mascot all the way up from St Bartholomew's, Wootton, and he's Vincent John Fellows, 9 years of age. His favourite team is Portsmouth, and his second favourite team is Swindon Town, so he's in for a thoroughly entertaining afternoon this afternoon. His favourite player, Alan Knight. Second favourite player, Fraser Digby, so both of his favourite players on view this afternoon. Lists his hobbies as playing and watching football. Well, he's about to enjoy the first league match of the season at the county ground, Swindon Town against second division pace setters Portsmouth. They played 3 games to date, won them all. Indeed, their last match against Leeds United, they won that one 4-0. Just run through the teams for you. Portsmouth, Alan Knight in goal. Then it's Warren Neal, Paul Hardiman, Kevin Dillon, leading goal scorer last season. Graham Hogg, Billy Gilbert. One of their new signings, Mark Chamberlain on the wing. Barry Horn, Welsh international in midfield. Then Mike Quinn, the young forward. Terry Connor and Lee Sanford make up the 11. The 2 substitutes, Warren Aspinall and Clive Whitehead. And for Swindon Town, well, in goal, as ever, Fraser Digby. Their fullbacks, Dave Hockaday and Phil King. New signing Ross McLaren then, and it's Colin Calderwood brought into defence. John Gittins plays alongside him. Then it's Steve Foley, Paul Bowden. New signing Duncan Shearer up front, along with Steve White. They have to carry the mantle of Bamber and Quinn. Both left the club in the off-season. Bobby Barnes supplying the crosses. Charlie Henry on the subs bench. Lou Macari and the Swindon fans hoping that his side can get off the mark for this season. Drew their opening game against Barnsley, then suffered rather heavy defeat, 3-1 away to West Bromwich Albion. But it's Barnes now, plays it quick forward, finds Stephen White. He's across rather too long, brought away by Portsmouth. Man that the Swindon Town defence will have to watch out for. Terry Connor on the ball there for a moment. He scored 4 goals in the opening 3 games of the season, a bye from Leeds towards the end of last season, and Portsmouth were relegated from the first division. I'm feeling we'll find Colin Calderwood sticking to Connor for much of this match. Certainly can't give him any room. Sanford attempting to get the cross in. Connor on the ball. Dillon now for Portsmouth, being forced back all the time by the Swindon midfield. Nice little move there with Handyman. He gets the cross in. Gittins has to head it away for a throw-in. Once again for Portsmouth. Swindon Town goal under pressure. Connor now on the edge of the box. Tries to get a shot in, very, very weak. Played out to Bobby Barnes on the left for Swindon. He looks towards White and Shearer, but in the end it's cut out by Billy Gilbert. But Swindon Town win a free kick. 2 new signings in the Swindon Town set up this afternoon. Ross McLaren in defence, Duncan Shearer, been around a few clubs. Swindon born from Huddersfield Town, always seem to score goals in the lower divisions. It's Portsmouth, they come away now. Dillon to Connor. up for it. White, Shearer in the middle. And it's Gittins that gets up to win the header there. And an effort from Bobby Barnes. And in the end, Alan Knight gathers the ball up. And the Portsmouth defenders can rest easy for another few moments. A long punt forward. Terry Connor trying to get on the end of that. So Sanford on the Portsmouth left, looking to get across in. Dillon hoists across onto Connor. Oh, and it's a goal! Mark Chamberlain, the England international winger, has put Portsmouth into the lead. Sanford playing the ball back to Kevin Dillon, who hoisted it across. Connor managed to win the ball in the air, and in the resulting confusion, Mark Chamberlain puts Portsmouth in the lead. Portsmouth 1, Swindon Town 0. Only 5 minutes gone. So there's no stopping this Portsmouth side at the moment. Well, one in the air there by Graham Hogg, former Manchester United player. So Steve White needs the throw in. It comes right across, but unfortunately Steve Foley couldn't get on the end of that. And Portsmouth try to bring it away on the break. Connor for Portsmouth. Looks like he got past Warren Neal, but he was brought down. And a free kick to Portsmouth. So in the early stages of this game, I would say that Portsmouth definitely do have the edge. Most of their good work coming down their left-hand side. But it's Portsmouth on the attack now. Dillon trying to get Warren Neal away, but it's cleared by Swindon. It's well won by White. Barnes finding Foley. But Chamberlain putting the ball out of play, and Swindon Town win the throw-in. Portsmouth do with that very coolly. Mark Chamberlain bringing the ball away. Finds Connor. Sanford on a forward run on that occasion, but here's a crossfield ball trying to find Mick Quinn. But it's planted to no uncertain terms into the stand by Swindon Town's captain Colin Calderwell. Mick Quinn for Portsmouth. Gets the ball back to Sanford. An important tackle. They found Alan Knight very quickly off his line, denying Steve White. A fine piece of goalkeeping by Portsmouth, Alan Knight. But the corner is taken very quickly by Swindon Town. The cross comes across to Bobby Barnes. Bobby Barnes couldn't get on the end of that. And in the end, cleared by Portsmouth. Well, they looked for a moment there that White might just get to the ball ahead of Alan Knight, but he was off his line like lightning, denying the Swindon Town forward a scoring opportunity. And then from the resulting corner, taken very quickly by Swindon, Bobby Barnes just failing to get on the end of a cross. Swindon Town free kick hoisted into the area. Calderwell trying to get on the end of it, but that was always Knight's ball. But it's Connor now. Ball wasted. A lovely ball forward by Ross McLaren. Steve White foul, trying to get on the end of that. Graham Hogg, the culprit. Graham Hogg, the name in the book. Swindon Town with a free kick. Looks as if Ross McLaren's going to try a shot. McLaren unleashes a shot, and it finds Duncan Shearer, and Swindon have equalised. No, the referee and the linesman between them have overruled it. Offside. Well, that's very unfortunate for Swindon Town. Ross McLaren, all in all, his shot wasn't a particularly good one, but it found its way to Duncan Shearer. He planted it firmly in the back of the net, but the referee and his linesman decreed offside. Oh, a very poor free kick. Oh, Shearer just couldn't get on the end of that. But it's Swindon Town now, with their tails up, going forward once again. Phil King trying to calm things down for Portsmouth, kicks the ball into touch. The crowd now really getting behind the home side. Phil King with the throw-in. Gilbert and Dillon combining to get the ball back to Knight. And the trouble subsides for the Portsmouth defence. Well, Phil King certainly getting into some dangerous positions on the left-hand side for Swindon Town. And just in the last 3 or 4 minutes, Swindon getting the edge and creating 1 or 2 chances. Oh, that was a blatant push by Warren Neal on Bobby Barnes, and then a clash of heads. Barnes falls to the ground. And there's no doubt in the Swindon supporters' minds that Warren Neal had every intention of getting Bobby Barnes. So, Mr. Ashworth needing to have a chat with both players in order to calm proceedings down. Of course, Portsmouth, one of the worst disciplinary records in the Football League last year, were brought before the Football Association during the close season. And in the end, both players escaped without a booking, but on the face of it, the lucky man there, David Hockaday. The ball once again in the Portsmouth box. Barnes trying to get on the end of it. And he's penalised for a foul on Mark Chamberlain. So the fracas in the pitch there involving Barnes and Warren Neal. Warren Neal was probably expecting a torrid time from the nippy winger in this match and trying to gain the upper hand in the early stages of the first half. But I would say on the face of that whole incident, it was Warren Neal very, very lucky to escape without a booking. Gilbert for Portsmouth. Stanford Court. 3 or 4 yards offside. Wasn't at all impressed with the pass from Gilbert. Neal and Chamberlain combining to get the better of Barnes. Only as far as McLaren. Humps the ball forward once again towards Barnes. A good header though from Phil King. Steve White trying to get the cross in, and he still get it. Phil King once again in the box, finds Barnes. Twisting and turning, but he couldn't keep the ball in, and it goes behind for a goal kick to Portsmouth.
For the visitors' enclosure, will you please move forward, because there's still some of your supporters wanting to get in. Could you please move forward to allow some of your supporters? Thank you.
Caldwell and Quinn. Quinn manages to find Connor. Connor jinking left and right, and in the end Gittins is in to win the ball for Swindon. Barnes away now. Moves crossfield, battling with Connor. Connor gets the better of that. Bowden finds McLaren. McLaren forward. Looking for Barnes now, popping up on the right-hand side. Tries to get his cross into Shearer. Shearer heads it back. Oh, and it's put over the top. What a terrible miss there by Steve White. A good move, a good cross from Bobby Barnes. Finding Duncan Shearer in a bit of space, heads it back across the face of the goal. And Steve White puts it over the bar from about a yard, maybe 2 yards out. Well, they'll be ruining that at half-time. As I was saying a little earlier, Swindon Town has certainly created challenges. Barnes seems to have been given a free roll, popping up on both the left and right-hand side of the field. And Shearer causing 1 or 2 problems in the centre of the Portsmouth defence. And once again, it's Shearer and White. White now with only Knight to beat. A very good save from Alan Knight. But once again, really, it's got to be said, Steve White should have been a lot better with that. He was clean through. But Hogg and Gilbert made up a great deal of ground. Put White under a little bit of pressure. He did have Shearer out to his left, but elected to shoot. Good save from Alan Knight down to his right. The corner now comes across from Bowden. Trying to find Caldwell to head it on, but it's Bowden once again. Looking to hoist in across. No problem. Knight takes it comfortably in the air. Tried to release Dillon, but it was cut out by Caldwell and Foley. Gilbert now puts the ball out of play. So just over 30 minutes gone, the score still 1-0 to Portsmouth, but Swindon have been getting more of play as the half continues, and it's White once again in the Portsmouth box. Swindon putting Portsmouth under a great deal of pressure in the last 10 minutes. Bobby Barnes in particular causing them a great deal of trouble as he jinks down the right-hand side or the left-hand side. The ball comes across, headed behind by Mike Quinn, back defending. Paul Bowden jogs across to take the corner for Swindon Town. So he'll be looking for Caldwell. Duncan Shearer. Caldwell heads it back to White. Couldn't get on the end of it, neither could Barnes. And in the end, the referee spots an infringement, and Portsmouth can breathe easy as they prepare to take a free kick. Well, once again, panic in the Portsmouth defence. But the Swindon forwards aren't finding the ball bouncing their way at the moment. White, Shearer and Barnes all failing to get on the end of that one. Well, Gittins penalised there for holding Connor. Portsmouth take the free kick quickly. Warren Neal, not the most popular man at Swindon at the moment, finds Kevin Dillon in the centre of the park. He attempts to find Neal again. He immediately attempts to hold off King. He gets the ball to Chamberlain. The whistle had gone long before the ball found the back of the net. All the Swindon Town players had stopped. Plays it back to Warren Neal. He gets his cross in. Only as far as Chamberlain, who fires it over the bar. Headed forward by Chamberlain. Quinn holds it up. Dillon and Neal combining now, bringing the ball forward for Portsmouth. Well, Portsmouth win a free kick there. Foley penalised for bringing down Neal. So once again, Kevin Dillon with the free kick. Headed behind. So Portsmouth with the corner. Billy Gilbert moved up to the near post, along with Quinn, as the ball comes across. Gittins, Dillon once again fires it in. But it's cleared as far as Bobby Barnes now for Swindon. Fortunately for Portsmouth, Paul Hardiman managing to get the better of Barnes. Swindon with the throw. Poor clearance from Graham Hogg, but fortunately Dillon managed to tidy things up a little for Portsmouth. Connor now deep in his own half. Chamberlain finds Neil. All the time the back four of Portsmouth being harassed by the busy midfield of Swindon Town. Tricky little play by Sanford on the edge of the Swindon box, but tidied up neatly by Stephen Foley. But in the end, the ball's given away once again, needlessly in the centre of the park. But Portsmouth do just the same. It's now Steve White gets the better of Neil. A good shot from White. Unfortunately for Portsmouth, Hogg managed to cut out the cross as Duncan Shearer was attempting to get on the end of a shot come across from Stephen White. Fine bit of defending by Graham Hogg. Unfortunate for Swindon that the ball from White couldn't find Shearer in the centre. Bowden with the cross. Calderwell gets in a shot. And the ball once again. I would think that Quinn was probably penalised there for obstruction on Bowden. So a free kick to Swindon Town to be taken by King, hoists in the cross. And it clear only as far as McLaren, who tries a shot. Still bobbling around the box, and a good effort from Foley, but over the top. He's always leaning back on that shot. But really, on occasion, the Portsmouth defence looks in a complete and utter panic when Swindon are putting them under pressure. Shearer trying to find Barnes. Barnes brought to the ground in no uncertain terms by Paul Hardiman. He's just drifted out of the game a little bit, Bobby Barnes, in the last 10 minutes, the former West Ham player. No doubt they'll be attempting to get him going as quickly as possible, causing Portsmouth a lot of problems midway through the first half. Well, the ball shot across the Portsmouth box. King now for Swindon, looking to get in the cross once again. He does so. Knight managed to clear it for Portsmouth. Nice little ball forward from Neil. But Chamberlain couldn't get on the end of it. Ross McLaren now gets Swindon moving once again. A very, very poor ball as the pendulum swings once more. Portsmouth on the attack. Mark Chamberlain, formerly of Sheffield Wednesday and Stoke, actually beginning his career with Port Vale. 8 England caps. But in the end, Caldwell hustles Connor out of that ball, and White's free once again. But he couldn't quite get to the ball before Graham Hogg. Hogg having a good game in the central of defence for Portsmouth. Although he's needing to have a good game, the other defenders aren't exactly pulling together at the moment. Hockaday getting the better of Sanford. He finds Shearer to Barnes. Barnes now bringing the ball across field, finds King with a lovely ball. King King trying to find Steve White, but Knight was always going to win the race on that occasion. Lovely little move there from Swindon. Hockaday, Shearer laying the ball off sweetly to Bobby Barnes. A wonderful crossfield ball. Found Phil King overlapping on the Swindon left. His ball just a little too strong for Steve White. But Alan Knight doing well, coming off his line very quickly. Winning the ball. And the referee brings the first half to a close. The score 1-0 to Portsmouth. Mark Chamberlain putting them in front after barely 5 minutes. But at the end of 45 minutes, Swindon probably feel a little aggrieved at going in at half-time, a goal down. They've had 4 or 5 clear chances. Had the ball in the back of the net once from Duncan Shearer, definitely offside though. Steve White had possibly the 2 best chances of the first half. Chances also falling the way of Bobby Barnes, but in the end it's Alan Knight. He goes in at half-time, a clean sheet to his credit. The score: Portsmouth 1, Swindon Town 0. Mark Chamberlain on the Portsmouth right. Gets past 3 players. Connor now tries a shot. Only parried by Digby as Horn gets across towards Sanford. And he totally miskicks it. And now it's Swindon's turn to attack. But Barnes not able to get on the end of the cross. The ball now with Steve White. Hoists in a ball right across the field. Foley now, who had that fine shot just a few moments ago, gets the better of Horn. And in the end, Gilbert in hard. Looked to win the ball fair and square, but the referee decides otherwise. And awards a free kick to Swindon Town. Unleash a shot, McLaren. Well and truly over the bar. They really have wasted most of their set pieces, Swindon Town. They've got to make more of them if they intend to get back into this game. Gitton wins the ball well in the air. Lovely little back heel from Barnes. White trying to get to Shearer. Ray Shearer back to White. White has a shot. Lacks any pace. No problem for Alan Knight. There's no doubt that the Swindon forward line is causing the Portsmouth defence no end of problems. Caldwell getting the better of Quinn. Well, the referee, Mr. Ashworth, wanting to have a word with Sanford for wasting a little bit of time kicking the ball away. McLaren pumps the ball forward. Well, Quinn and Caldwell both going for that ball, and the referee deciding that it was Caldwell who got his head to it last. Connor heads the ball onto Dillon. But neatly tidied up by Foley and his captain, Caldwell. The ball with Sanford for Portsmouth. Plays it in to Horn, gets it back. Now Dillon. Brings Hardiman into the match. Tries to make up ground down the left-hand side. Good tackle from Bobby Barnes, back in defence. But Portsmouth win a corner. Corner that Kevin Dillon will undoubtedly take, yes, as he makes his way across to take the Portsmouth corner. Gets in his cross as far as Sanford. Phil King getting the better of Sanford on that occasion. Another corner to Portsmouth. And it looks Sanford to take this one. Dillon on the edge of the Swindon box, completely unmarked. Ball comes across from Sanford. Digby gets a hand to it. Another corner. So still Quinn on the knee post. Short one to Chamberlain. Back to Sanford. Sanford looking to get the cross in this time. No problem for Swindon as they bring the ball away now. Barnes looking to get the ball forward, but in the end, hustled out of it by Hardiman. Has to play it back to his keeper, Digby. Brings King into the match. So it's King now looking to get the cross in. Wins a corner. So on this occasion, Swindon leave 2 back. Kitten totally unmarked at the back. Plays in a short corner, terrible effort, but now Foley chips it back. And in the end, it's put out of play unceremoniously by Hardiman. So a throw in to Swindon Town, looking for the equaliser. But it's Horn that gets it away for Portsmouth, as far as Quinn. Oh, Dillon totally missed the ball. Whacks into Foley. Purely accidental, but a free kick taken very quickly by Swindon. White on the ball, looking to get his cross in. Still White. Half a dozen Swindon players waiting for the cross, and in the end it's completely wasted. And Neil's able to get it away. Only as far as Calderwell, who tries to get Phil King back into the game once again. Phil King down the Swindon left, gets the cross in, but it goes behind for a goal kick. It really is the final ball that's letting Swindon down at the moment. They're getting into good positions, but failing to put the Portsmouth defence under the pressure that should come from those very positions. Shearer finds White, who tries to bring Barnes into the match. Bobby Barnes is clear, the ball bounces lovely for him there. Barnes shoots, brilliant save by Knight. The ball comes across once again, but into the side netting. Well, Bobby Barnes, definitely with an excellent chance there to level the score. The young winger finding himself in the clear, the bounce for once going the way of Swindon. But Knight, equal to Bobby Barnes, manages to keep his clean sheet intact. Quinn holding the ball up nicely. Out to Chamberlain. Chamberlain chips it forward to Dillon. His cross goes a little astray. And a tussle in the middle of the park between Neil and Bowden goes Swindon's way. So McLaren with the free kick for Swindon. Once again pumps it high into the Portsmouth box. Bowden trying to find his way, trying to pick his way through. Barnes hits a shot. And he gets a deflection, wins the corner. Corner comes across. Knight loses it in the end. Hogg hit it high into the sky, but in the end of all of that commotion, Alan Knight had been fouled. Honor for Portsmouth. Neil gets the cross in towards Quinn, who's got a bit of space. Horn to Sanford. Back to Horn now on the Portsmouth left, gets his cross in. Chamberlain, always dangerous in these positions. Back to Horn, who once again will tries a low shot. Connor running in, but always going to be Digby's ball. Colwood plays the ball across the Portsmouth box. No Swindon players anywhere near it. Well, Colin Colwood having a fine game in defence, but he'd have wished to do a little better with that cross. So a substitution, the first of the game being made by Alan Ball. The Portsmouth manager, young Mike Quinn, is taken off, and he's replaced by Warren Aspinall, the former Aston Villa player. And immediately they try to find Aspinall, but he gets no joy from getting Warren Aspinall. And you may remember from last season his disciplinary record at Aston Villa left a lot to be desired. Kitten brought him down there, and he's immediately going into the book. Aspinall hasn't even touched the ball yet. Hacked to the ground, and Gittin booked by referee Ashworth. So it'll be Kevin Dillon with the free kick for Portsmouth. Foley kicks it upfield for Swindon. White trying to get on the end of this. Him and Gilbert tangling in the centre of the park. Played out wide to Duncan Shearer. He's got Barnes and White in the middle. Finds White, he plays a little header. He's trying to find Foley. And Barnes is brought immediately into the game. And he wins a corner off Graham Hogg. Certainly no doubt that Steve Foley is the man pulling the strings in the Swindon midfield this afternoon. But the ball comes across. Caldwell won it. Bowden. And Gittin all failing to get the ball travelling towards the Portsmouth goal. So Aspinall now for Portsmouth. Plays it back to Chamberlain. Aspinall now breaking down on the right-hand side. A free kick to Portsmouth. And once again, it's Gittin who's penalised. Already been brought to the ground twice. Only been on the pitch 5 minutes. The cross comes across. Headed clear by Caldwell. Only as far as Dillon. Well taken by Bowden. He immediately tries to get Barnes into the game again, cropping up on the left-hand side on this occasion. Barnes wins the throw-in. Barnes now for Swindon Town. Falls for Barnes once again, gets his cross in. Foley in the middle of the park. His ball failing to find White, and now it's Connor for Portsmouth. Brings Chamberlain into the game. Well, he's got Horn calling for the ball here. And Horn in the middle now picks it up for Portsmouth. They immediately bring Hardiman into the match, breaking down the left-hand side, gets his cross in. And on the end of that, well, Warren Aspinall may have only been on for 6 or 7 minutes, but he's already cropped up in 1 or 2 incidents. He got on the end of that cross from Hardiman, over the bar though. And now a substitution being made by Lou Macari. Looks like Paul Bowden who's gone off. And it's Charlie Henry who's come on as his replacement. Charlie Henry on for Swindon Town. The man he has replaced, Paul Bowden. Barnes now for Swindon. He had Hockaday free on the right, elected to keep moving down the Swindon left. Ross McLaren now. Foley for Swindon. Moves the ball forward. White. Now it's Hockaday with a chance. Oh, a good effort from Hockaday. And in fact, in his eagerness to clear the trouble there, Hardiman kicks the ball out of the ground. So a new ball is called for, checked by referee Ashworth, and Swindon have a corner. Well, a poor corner from Swindon. Chamberlain immediately finding Horn, who has Dillon to his right. Now Dillon, Connor making a good run down the middle with Aspinall. But Swindon's Colin Caldwell doing a captain's job, winning the ball in the air and eventually making sure it gets back to his keeper, Digby. Had a fine game in defence for the Robins. And this time, it's Graham Hogg's turn to be penalised for climbing. And the free kick already taken, they find Shearer. And it's Caldwell, he's gone down in the middle of the park. The referee immediately calling for the trainer. Colin Caldwell, the Swindon Town captain. Hockaday to restart the match for Swindon. Hoisted into the centre. Knight lost it for a second, reclaims the ball. The trouble passes for Portsmouth. Now the ball with Dillon. He brings Chamberlain into the game, down the Portsmouth right. Mark Chamberlain looking to get the better of Foley. Foley concedes a throw in. We're entering the closing stages of the game now, 7 or 8 minutes remaining. Can't imagine there'll be a great deal added on for stoppages as Chamberlain breaks down the right for Portsmouth. Gets past King. And in the end, McLaren plays it off. Chamberlain wins a goal kick for Swindon Town. Now it's White for Swindon. Finds Henry, but he wasn't able to control the ball in order to get his shot in. But Swindon win the throw in. Good little ball that from Stephen White to substitute Henry. As the long throw comes in. Knight punches it away, only as far as McLaren. He tries a shot. Ball runs loose to Shearer. Shearer couldn't get a shot in, and Knight tidies things up for Portsmouth. So, roughly 5 minutes to go. Swindon Town still trailing by 1-0. Mark Chamberlain giving Portsmouth the lead inside the first 5 minutes, but it's White now for Swindon. He finds Foley. Foley shoots. Swindon have equalised. Stephen Foley finds a great deal of space on the right-hand side. A lovely through ball from Stephen White, and it's Swindon 1, Portsmouth 1. Well, that was just as Steve Foley, very unlucky when he hit the post in the opening stages of the second half. He finds himself some space on the Swindon right. The ball finds its way through to him from Steve White, and he buries it in the back of Alan Knight's net. Swindon 1, Portsmouth 1. Well, only 5 minutes to go, and Swindon have equalised, but now it's Sanford trying to get Portsmouth moving down their left. Well, that's no more than Swindon deserve. Although at certain times they've been their own worst enemy, missing 1 or 2 gilt-edged opportunities, but they certainly haven't had luck on their side today. But Steve Foley ties it up, and it's Swindon on the attack once again. Duncan Shearer shouting for the ball. Henry heads it on. The ball stays in play from Henry's shot. Shearer tries to get it back across the centre, wins a corner. Stirring stuff from Swindon in the closing minutes of the second half. Desperately looking for their first win of the season. Hockaday with the corner for Swindon. The ball comes across straight into the hands of Alan Knight. Upfield, and Shearer almost led in by Hogg, but he got his foot to it, and now it's White trying to get the better of Gilbert, and in the end Billy Gilbert upfield only as far as Hockaday pumps it forward to Bobby Barnes. Very good tackle from Paul Hardiman, but it's Swindon now driving forward, and they win a free kick for a foul by Sanford on Hockaday. He'll take the free kick. Oh, he could possibly leave it for Bobby Barnes. All the big men up for Swindon. The ball headed clear by Neal. As far as King. Lovely ball to Hockaday. It's the better of Hardiman. McLaren gets the ball into the centre. Things tidied up by Graham Hogg. And Calderwell prevents Chamberlain from breaking down the Portsmouth left. Certainly has played a captain's part in Swindon's performance this afternoon. Marshalled his defence well. They've had much of the play, but were penalised for a silly mistake in the opening stages of the first half, and they nearly suffered once again for a lapse in defence. Horn almost getting the better of Hockaday and winning a corner for Portsmouth. They have Aspinall and Chamberlain, plays it short to Horn, immediately back to Dillon. Nice little chip through to Chamberlain. Eventually it's Dillon. They're all forced back. Dillon. Eventually the ball with Chamberlain. Crossfield ball into space, but no Portsmouth player, and it's Steve White now leads the charge forward for Swindon Town. They're looking for that winner. White back to Foley, the scorer of the equaliser, and a smashing goal it was too. Hockaday looking to hoist it into the centre, across it goes. Knight's lost it. No foul. Gitton getting the better of Aspinall. So Swindon continue to put the Portsmouth goal under pressure. And the referee only allows Swindon to take the throw-in, blows the final whistle. The final score, Swindon Town 1, Portsmouth 1. All in all, a pretty fair result, although Swindon had most of the chances, but they only have themselves to blame for squandering some golden opportunities. 2 or 3 in particular, White and Barnes missing 2 good opportunities in particular. Mark Chamberlain scoring the Portsmouth goal in the opening 5 minutes of the first half. Then with 5 minutes remaining in the second half, White finds some space on the Swindon left. A through ball to Foley, who is in acres of space on the Swindon right. Only the goalkeeper to beat. Knight never saw the ball. So Steve Foley tying it up 1-1. Swindon gain their second point of the present campaign, but still looking for their first victory.
Yes, over 11,000 fans in the Sunday Sun in the hopes of seeing Portsmouth's 100% record ended, and Bobby Barnes certainly gave Portsmouth an early fright. Then, with the game only a few minutes old, Swindon's defence opened up, and watch Mark Chamberlain, the former England man, put Portsmouth smartly ahead. So the second division leaders away to a good start. Well, that only stung Swindon into action, and after Hockaday showed the will to win the ball there, Steve White had the first of a series of chances to get away. Well, the defenders seemed to give up, but sadly for White, Portsmouth's goalkeeper didn't. Swindon really should have scored when the costly Duncan Shearer got the ball in the net, but the referee didn't agree with Swindon's protest that Shearer was onside. Well, Steve White was moving well. Here he combines with Phil King to set up another opening. There's King, the fullback, getting involved, but that equaliser just would not come for the Wiltshire side. Frankly, Swindon should have scored after an unselfish header coming up now from Duncan Shearer. He thinks White is better placed, look, so he nods it across, but Duncan must have wished he'd been a bit more selfish. Well, Steve White was showing the knack of getting himself into those scoring positions, but he just couldn't beat that goalkeeper, Knight. There's a good save, isn't it? Yes, it really wasn't Steve White's day. He gets another chance much closer in, but again, he just can't get it in the back of that net. But it was to be Foley's day. The midfield player getting forward for a wonderful shot there, but denied by the crossbar. Then with the game slipping away, justice done, and Steve Foley levelling the score. Yes, good goal, super performance from Swindon overall, particularly their dominant midfield. Well done all round. Good Sunday afternoon entertainment.